I'm the one who leaked the anonymous confession that blew up our town. A late-night confession landed in my inbox with details only a handful of people could know, and I made a choice that turned it into a public spectacle with real names and real consequences. The first time I realized I might lose my job over a stranger's confession, it was because the message included my boss's office layout. Not a vague "I work downtown" thing. It described the scratch on the left filing cabinet, the password sticky note everyone pretends they don't see, and the cheap space heater that only works if you kick it twice. Then it ended with, "If you read this, you already know who I am." I was sitting alone at my kitchen table at 1:47 a.m., laptop open, cheap tea going cold, doing my normal routine for the local late-night confessions page. It wasn't official. It wasn't a hotline. It was just a community account I ran because our town had a weird obsession with anonymity, and I liked being the person who held the secrets without being in the middle of them. People sent in petty stuff. I'm in love with my roommate. I lied about my GPA. I steal the good pens from work. Harmless, usually. Then this one came in. I read it 3 times because I kept expecting it to turn into a joke. It didn't. It wasn't even written dramatically. That's what made it worse. It was calm, almost bored, like they'd rehearsed it. They confessed to sabotaging a safety inspection at our manufacturing plant last year. The one that got a supervisor suspended and nearly got the plant shut down. The one everyone still argued about at bars like it was a sport. They didn't say, "I did it to be evil." They said, "I did it because if we failed, my dad would lose his job. And if my dad lost his job, we'd lose the house." I didn't think anyone would get blamed. I just needed the numbers to look right. Then they dropped a detail that made my stomach flip. The exact brand of the inspection stickers, and the code printed on the back that nobody outside our compliance department should know. That's when I stopped feeling like this was just content. At 2:10 a.m., I got a second message. Same sender. "Before you do the righteous thing," it said. "Remember, you built this page on people trusting you. You've been taking confessions for 2 years. You've read worse than this. You just didn't recognize the names." I stared at that line for a long time because it wasn't totally wrong. Running that page had turned me into a weird kind of judge. People would confess, and I'd decide what got posted, what got ignored, what got edited to protect someone's identity. I told myself I was doing it responsibly. I'd cut specifics. I'd remove workplaces. I'd blur anything that could harm someone. But I also knew what performed. The posts that performed were the ones that made people pick sides. This one was gasoline. I didn't answer them. I didn't tell anyone. I just sat there, scrolling back through old confessions like they'd implied, suddenly wondering how many were real and how many had been about people I knew. At 2:34 a.m., my phone buzzed with a text from Claire, my friend from work. "Are you awake?" Claire never texted that late unless something was wrong or she was drunk and sentimental. I typed "yeah" and immediately regretted it because she called. I picked up, whispering like someone might be listening through the walls. "I just got an email," she said, and her voice sounded tight. "From corporate. They're reopening the investigation. They want statements. They're asking about the night shift logs." My chest went hollow. Claire worked in quality. The reopened investigation was about the exact incident the confession described, an incident that had nearly ended her career because she was the one who approved the paperwork everyone said was off. "You're kidding," I said. "I'm not," she said. "And you know what the worst part is? I never did anything wrong, but it doesn't matter. People already decided I did. If they drag it up again, I'm done." I could have told her then. I could have said, "Someone just confessed to it," and let her decide what to do. But the moment I pictured her asking, "Who?" and me having to say, "I don't know, but I think it's someone we work with," I hesitated. Because if I told Claire, I was not just a person running a dumb confession page anymore. I was a witness. So I said nothing. I did the thing I'm not proud of. I asked questions instead, like a reporter. "Do they have any new evidence?" I said. Claire laughed, sharp. "Evidence? No. They have pressure. Someone at corporate is getting heat from the board, and it trickles down. You know how it goes." After we hung up, I didn't feel relieved. I felt implicated. I opened the confession again, read it slower. There were enough details to ruin someone. Enough details that, if I posted even half of it, our entire department would start hunting for the writer like it was a game. Which is where the moral math got ugly. If I posted it anonymously, with the identifying details stripped, it would spark outrage but protect the person who did it. If I didn't post it, the confession would stay in my inbox, and Claire might get pulled back into a mess she didn't deserve. If I took it to HR or legal, I'd be exposing that I ran the page at all, and my own job would be the first casualty. But if I posted it, with one or two details left in, just enough for people to connect the dots, then the town would do what it always does. It would find someone to blame. And the terrifying part was, that might actually get the right person. Or it might just destroy the wrong one faster. I kept trying to convince myself I was thinking like an adult about consequences. But I also knew the truth. I was thinking like someone who'd tasted attention and didn't want to stop. At 3:26 a.m., the sender messaged again. "I can tell you're still awake," they wrote. "You always read right away." That line made my skin prickle. I'd never replied to them. I hadn't even opened their profile. Yet, they knew my habits. Then, "If you post it, at least post the part where I say I didn't mean to hurt anyone." Like I was going to be fair. Like fairness existed in a comment section. I did something reckless. I typed back, "Why are you telling me?" The 3 dots appeared almost instantly. "Because you already chose," they wrote. "You run that page because you like being the person who decides what people deserve." I should have shut the laptop. I should have blocked them. I should have gone to sleep and acted like this was just another late-night internet thing. Instead, I opened my drafts. I copied the confession into a text editor and started cutting pieces out. Plant name gone, dates softened, the sticker code removed. Then I hit a part describing how the sabotage happened and realized I couldn't leave it in without teaching people how to do it again. So I removed that too. By the time I was done, it read like a generic "I falsified something at work" confession. It was safer. It was also boring. And in that moment, the ugliest truth arrived. Boring would protect everyone, including the person who did it. And I wasn't sure I wanted that. I scrolled back up, found the line about my boss's office layout. I left in one detail I shouldn't have. Not a name, not even a title. Just a small reference that only someone inside our building would recognize. The kind of detail that would make a few people sit up straight and go, "Wait, that sounds like..." I told myself I was doing it for accountability, for Claire, for the truth. Then I scheduled it for 8 a.m., right when people checked their phones at work, and I went to bed with my stomach tight like a fist. I woke up to my notifications screaming. Hundreds of comments, shares, people tagging each other, people posting guesses like they were solving a puzzle. Somebody wrote, "This is definitely someone in compliance." Someone else wrote, "No, it's maintenance, has to be." Then, if it's who I think it is, I'm not surprised. By 9:30 a.m., I got an email from HR. Subject line, "Inquiry regarding social media content." It didn't mention my confession page by name. It didn't have to. Meanwhile, Claire messaged me, "Have you seen the confession page today? People are going feral. They're saying it was my team." I stared at her text until my eyes blurred. Because here's the part I didn't expect. The crowd didn't go after the person I suspected. They went after the easiest target. They went after the person whose name was already tied to the incident, Claire. People dug up her LinkedIn. They screenshotted her old posts about process integrity and mocked them. Someone left a review on her husband's small business page saying, "Ask your wife about safety." Claire sent me a voice note crying in her car, saying she didn't understand how this was happening again. I wanted to confess right then, to her, to everyone. But once the mob starts, you don't get to redirect it with a neat correction. You just become the next target, and the mob expands. At 11:12 a.m., the anonymous sender messaged one last time. "You did exactly what I thought you'd do," they wrote. "You didn't post it for justice. You posted it for control." Then, almost like an afterthought, "Also, it wasn't your coworker. You're hunting the wrong person." I read that message so many times, my eyes hurt. Because maybe they were lying. Or maybe my small detail didn't point where I thought it did. Or maybe the confession itself was a trap designed to see if I'd bite. And if it was a trap, it worked perfectly. The investigation reopened, my friend got publicly dragged, HR emailed me, and the person who actually did it, whoever they are, got to watch me set the match and call it accountability. I deleted the post by lunch. That didn't undo anything. Screenshots live forever, especially in a town that loves a scandal more than it loves the truth. HR hasn't followed up again, which somehow feels worse. Like they're watching, waiting. Claire hasn't spoken to me since she found out I run the page. She didn't even hear it from me. Someone at work made the connection and told her like it was gossip, not a grenade. And the anonymous sender? Their account is gone, or blocked, or never real. Sometimes I still check my inbox at 2 a.m., out of habit. And every time I see a new confession sitting there, I get that same cold thought. What if the next one isn't a confession at all? What if it's just someone testing whether I've learned anything? Because the honest answer is, I don't know if I have.